It's been a long time. Come on. Yeah. Hey, yo, it's my life, my time, my rights, my rhymes, my grind, my struggle, hustle, sweat, and my blood too. A predator smells fear, I smell a lot. My competitors flex here. They smelled I was hot, I want it all. Excess, the sex. Look out in your house. We're in your house tonight. We're coming into your house. We're gonna polish up our boots and raise the roof all night. In your house. Oh, baby, in your house tonight.
Top 3 in your houses of all time. In your house, Michael. A little backstory. Started in Mother's Day of '95. It was a concept of WCW started doing, WWF for years just had 4 pay-per-views. And then WCW started getting more. And then WWF, it was cutthroat competition. So In Your House was born. And this was like they were only 2 hours. They were like budgeted, they were like $20 instead of 30.
So you got 3 or 4 matches.
You got whatever.
Lots of interviews, I remember. Lots of shitty interviews.
From the time WWF In Your House pay-per-view, it was based off of a contest where the winner would win an actual house.
That didn't last very long.
They gave away a house. I really doubt that people still live in the house, but it was legit, and
they got to watch the show with a wrestler.
The set that was there for years was an actual fucking house with like a garage at the entrance, and it was so 95, let's be honest. But Michael, we've seen it. The evolution of In Your House, this is right when the Attitude Era was seriously born. You could just see the evolution of what it became to where the point they dropped the In Your House name, they put it to 3 hours, and then you saw it turn into Unforgiven, Backlash, and that's how that
tell
came about.
as it gradually got more and more In Your Houses, they started. It wasn't just In Your House anymore; it was In Your House with a title,
with Beware of Dog,
yes,
or
In Your House, Bad Blood,
Good Friends, Better Enemies.
I mean? Yes,
and you can. A great way to analyze back, like go back and watch in '95.
It's kind of like what the UFC does now, because it's always UFC
tags
number. You know what I mean? But they'll have UFC 205 with a tag. You know what I mean?
In Your House was never numbered. I think for the first year they just kept calling each one In Your House.
Yeah.
Until like the very end of the first. But anyway, you could tell like financially where the company was at, looking at the set of the first In Your House to the very last.
I believe wasn't there an In Your House where the power went out during the Caribbean strap match?
We may or may not talk about that one later on.
That's one of the things that I remember most about In Your House. There's so many great In Your House moments, but there's a lot of really shitty moments within Your House as well.
Henry Godwin versus Bam Bam Bigelow was a match at an In Your House, Michael. Babyface Bam Bam Bigelow.
Goldust and Bam Bam Bigelow.
That was Survivor Series,
and
'95.
Brian Christopher and Scott Putski.
Well, let's get right into it, Michael. Top 3 In Your Houses of all time. Who wants to take the cake first? You want to go, or you want?
You can go with your number 3 first.
All right. Speak of the devil. Speaking of the night the lights went out, not in Georgia, in South Carolina. In Your House, Beware of Dog, May of '96. This was right at the very beginning of Shawn Michaels' first title reign. Do you remember the VHS? We ordered this, and the power went out. The feed went out legit because of a bad storm after like the first match.
Yes.
The first match was Mark Merrow and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Wild Man making his debut on pay-per-view. Michael, my parents were fucking pissed. I remember my dad cussing at the time, saying, I'll never order another pay-per-view again. Lo and behold, the next night on Raw, they said, they always show the replay on a Tuesday of the pay-per-view from Sunday. Those that missed out, Beware of Dog Part 2. So this is the only time In Your House was a 2-parter. They showed the other half matches you missed on the second night, which was like Goldust and taking a casket match, but I don't know. I think not because this card was so good, just because of the freak storm thing. I think it's why it's remembered. It's the nostalgia, because I remember I can legit say we actually ordered this pay-per-view when it happened, and somewhere I have the VHS where it cuts out, and my parents are yelling, and I always remember that. But Shawn Michaels and the Bulldog, it never set your world on fire, but they never had a bad match. And I thought the storyline with this was that storyline with Shawn, I know that you want me, with the sexual harassing Diana.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It wasn't good.
You had waited so long for Shawn to get the belt, and he had 1 month feud with Diesel, and then Diesel went to WCW. So like the next thing they came up with was this. So was what it was. Michael, I mean, you had Vader and Yokozuna. you had my favorite strap match of all time, and one of my favorite Austin matches ever, the legendary Caribbean strap match. I love that fucking match.
Him and Savio.
I don't even care if Savio's in
Savio
it.
made the show.
Again, I'm sure he has before. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
It was really good. It was a really good in your house pay-per-view. Aside from the power going out. But you know what? WWE made it right, and
They did right by the fans.
yes, the next night they did replay it for free.
It's like when Goldberg and DDP main event in Halloween Havoc,
Yes.
and the show ended early, and they showed it on Nitro for free.
Yes.
Maybe not the best business move. Maybe just for the people that ordered it, give it to them on the replay. But here's for everybody.
I guess it would be hard to go back over everybody that actually ordered it and just give it to them.
It'd be harder to sit through the same WCW pay-per-view over again just for one match.
Coming from the WCW lover over here.
Some of those shows are bad, man. Let's be honest. I don't know if Halloween... Yeah, because that had Hogan and the Warrior on it. Yep, that was Halloween Havoc. You'd have to sit through that twice just to get to a fucking Goldberg match. Michael, what's your number 3 top in your house match?
My number 3 would have to be In Your House Ground Zero. In Your House Ground Zero. My phone my phone battery is pretty much dead, so I can't give you full details of this. But I can give
Let
you.
me remedy that here.
I can give you little tidbits.
I help a brother out here on my laptop. I know a couple things. I remember Austin stunning Jim Ross on this was badass.
Yes. And I remember Jim Ross being. They did a little backstage interview with Jim Ross. He's
like, oh,
yeah. He was like, this kind of crap I got put up with. I don't need to come back out here.
Man, I loved heel Jim Ross.
Yes.
Like Razor and Diesel. Because it was real. Like, you could tell. All right, I got you. Holler at your boy. Michael, some of the Headbangers won the tag team titles for the first time. That was
that was a fatal 4-way elimination match, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You had them, LOD, the Godwins,
Owen Hart and the Bulldog.
Good.
Yes. I remember that match. It was a good match. This was the one and done feud with the Patriot, from Bret Hart, the Patriot, who was in WCW for years, Stars and Stripes tag team with Marcus Bagwell.
Yeah.
Snagged up by WWF. They pushed him to the moon for a month, and then
he loses clean to
back
Bret.
down with Vader.
Well, they'd pumped him up by beating Bret Hart, who was at the time the champion. He beat him on Raw.
I'm just looking at the match card.
You're looking at the Pillman match, aren't you?
I'm not.
Oh, but
I am not.
But anyway, the Patriot loses clean to Bret Hart at this pay-per-view. It's a nice little in your house main event. They were trying to make a new star. It didn't exactly pan out real well for them.
I wasn't a huge Del Wilkes fan, but
yeah,
this was the perfect opponent for Bret at the time. The perfect.
Yes, I think that
because of the gimmick.
Yes, because he was so anti-America, and this guy was supposed to be, the epitome of America until he opened his mouth.
I mean, you couldn't put Slaughter out there at this stage.
God, why would they give him a microphone though?
Hey, I'm Del Wilkes.
You remember?
I'm gonna beat you, Bret Hart.
I just remember the pre-match interview with him right before the match.
Yeah.
I did it once. I could do it again. He said that like 3 times throughout the interview.
So it's his best line, man. Give him a break.
Jesus Christ.
You ever see his shoot interview? Like, he was on Austin's podcast, Del Wilkes, the original Patriot. Talk about his drug addiction. Like, he would take like 27 Percocets a day.
Holy shit.
This was like when that was going on. It's crazy.
Holy shit.
But I'm glad he turned it around. He's still alive. Knock on wood. Michael, this also had Max Mini defeated El Torito.
I remember the original El Torito.
This was that beginning of the fascination
not that bullshit El Torito that came along later in the little mini.
Wait, did he have army gear on or something?
Yeah.
Who's the one with the fat midget with army gear?
He was way bigger than Max Mini. And this wasn't the El Torito from a couple years ago that was in fucking the little mini TLC match with Hornswoggle. So
this was the real fucking
This is
deal.
the original El Torito.
And you did, this was one of the best.
And Vince was announcing this match. I just remember Vince was like, he was so lackluster for this match. You could tell he hated this, but he put it on because he thought it was going to draw because of Max Mini.
Well, goddamn, Hoovy's on Nitro, so get a Mexican out there. Oh, they're not the same size, but goddamn, I'm used to stride them. But yeah, one of my favorite angles from the whole Attitude Era was what the show opened up with. I totally forgot this was on here. Was Brian Pillman and Goldust with Marlena Services on the line.
For 30 days.
Unfortunately, we never saw the ending, what this played out to, because of the death of Brian Pillman. This is 2 Pillman references on the same show. I think it might be a third one for your other in your house because I noted this. But I loved this angle. I still do. It holds up. It was perverted. It was sick. It was evil. It was brilliant, and I love it.
Jerry
God
Lawler.
damn, I
This was
love
back
Jerry
during
Lawler.
my favorite Jerry Lawler too. He was such
Horny
a
king.
perv.
So much Viagra.
And he was like, think about what's going on in that limo right now.
Here's the Jerry Lawler sentence from that era. Boom, cum shots, boobs, puppies,
yeah,
bukkake.
pretty much.
Yeah. Jesus
But
Christ.
Ground Zero, and the main event was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
First time.
This led to...
This was built up so much.
Yes.
Turned Michaels heel, which was, what can you say about this? Good.
Yes. It was great stuff. It was almost the... was this the debut of DX, pretty much?
Kinda. This had ended in a schmoz with Taker diving on the whole roster like Roman Reigns does now. Solid pick. Let's keep moving on because we could talk about each card for like the whole show. My number 2 favorite in your house, Michael, of all time. It's right there. Pretty much the same month. Bad Blood, 97. Did I take one?
That was going to be my number 2.
Well, you're going month to month in order, but no, that's my number 2 for real. I didn't think you'd pick that one because the undercard. Simply for the fucking main event.
The Hell in a Cell.
This undercard kind of sucks. Let's be honest.
First ever Hell in a Cell.
But it's not bad enough where it's not worth sitting through to get to that main event. It is. You had a shitty IC title match with Farouk and Owen Hart that nobody cared about. Everybody cared about Austin on commentating booth because he was injured. Owen Hart wins, new champ. Other than that, this was unfortunately on the free-for-all where Brian Pillman was announced dead.
Yeah.
I think this is a big reason this one stands out to most people. Yeah, I'm sure you had a Max Mini match on there again with OG
You don't have
Torito.
it pulled up?
I don't, but Michael, it was a good show.
I mean,
can't hate on it. Nostalgia.
You also had...
You had that tag match with the Patriot, Bret Hart, Vader, and...
It was a flag match, I believe.
Flag match, yes.
It was a flag match, yes. And that was not the main event. The main event, which we all know...
Imagine if it was.
...was the first ever Hell in a Cell. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker in a rematch. God, did Shawn Michaels take a beating. This was probably one of my top 10 favorite matches of all time. I thought this match was done perfectly as far as psychology went. I thought you had to have Shawn Michaels get his ass kicked in this. Because you just... This was that time when you were finally thinking, okay, he's finally going to get his fucking shit. You know what I mean? He's been fucking with The Undertaker for so long, getting away with it. Now he has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This isn't a bullshit steel cage.
Yeah.
Where you know people could just climb in there. This is a fucking cell that has a roof on it so that nobody can get in or out. But in the end, we get the debut of a guy who's still around today. Kane makes his official debut on here, rips the fucking door off the cell, goes in, tombstones Undertaker, Shawn Michaels gets the win. A bloody fucking mess.
It really was. Slower Hebner count, maybe the slowest ever.
And that was the end of this feud. Of course, this led...
Well, they had the match at the Rumble where Michaels got his back injury on the casket.
It was a casket
Other
match.
than that, it was done.
But that was when The Undertaker got set on fire.
Well, you got to rethink your inks. You're number 2 now, so...
Yes.
I mean, you can do it too. We can just do a joint number 2.
No, I can think of another one. Let's go with...
Wasn't there one in Hershey, Pennsylvania?
There was.
It's shitty?
It's not making my list. We're going to go with one that I just watched last night. I don't think it had a title to it, though, so that's...
Is it from 95?
It's the last in your house before WrestleMania 12. Bret Hart and Diesel in a steel cage match was the main event.
With the crybaby match?
Yes.
They put him in a diaper?
You had the crybaby match in that as well. I don't think it had a title to it, though. And you also had Owen Hart and Shawn Michaels in a match for the WrestleMania main event.
Number 1. And Michaels came in on a fucking rope.
Yeah. He was wearing the exact same attire that he did a month later at WrestleMania. But obviously he came down on a zip line.
No, he was wearing all white at WrestleMania, I think.
He was wearing the same jacket.
Oh.
So, obviously, he didn't change his attire. He just changed his entrance a little bit. You also had Bret Hart, like I said, Bret Hart and Diesel in the steel cage, where Diesel loses because the Undertaker comes up from under the ring.
At the time, that blew everyone's mind because you never saw that.
Because they wrestled the whole match, and you figured...
I'm sure that was done in another territory or WCW, but
yes,
that was the first time as a kid I was like 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm. It was good stuff. You were wondering what they were going to do at the time I figured Bret Hart was going to win this match when I was a kid, just because they had already been promoting this Diesel Undertaker feud,
You kind of knew it was going to be Brett and Shawn.
and the Undertaker wasn't on the card, so you were like, he's
You
gotta
knew
be
where it
over.
was going.
Yeah,
Like where.
it was going to be. It was going. For a minute there, I thought Shawn might lose to Owen Hart just to continue the Bret Owen rivalry at WrestleMania for the belt.
That would have been interesting if they did that.
But it didn't happen
I don't
because
think it would have went over
Shawn
well.
was so over.
The crowd wanted Shawn
Yeah.
to have it so bad too.
And it led to that Iron Man match. Roddy Piper came out, cut a promo with Jim Cornette. That's one of those lost moments that you forget about on In Your House. That was actually a really good promo they cut back and forth. You had two of the best talkers ever in the business going back and forth.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this the culmination of the red hot Duke Drosy Triple H feud?
Yes, Duke Jersey with no hair.
Bald Drew.
Because
Did he lose a hair? Did they put it in book it in a hair versus hair match?
No.
I feel like they dropped the ball on that.
No, he just got his hair cut after a match with Triple H. Triple H took some scissors and cut his hair.
Oh.
Like he was fucking Bruce Beefcake or something.
Did him no favors.
But Triple H come out with a sexy woman, as usual. It wasn't
per
Sable.
usual. That was a month later.
But he beats Drosy here. And
we just reviewed that match. Took 52 episodes. We just reviewed a Duke the Dumpster Jersey match.
Duke Jersey was wearing new attire. He had a shirt on that said Duke on it.
The basketball team? Is he a fan?
No, it was yellow and it had his name on it. And he didn't have his long hair. Do you think he lost his momentum there when he lost his hair?
I think he lost his whole career.
But yes, that makes my number 2 just because I had to think of one off the top of my head. Travis, number 1.
Fair enough. Honorable mention to the worst In Your House, in my opinion, of all time. October 95. Your main event was Bulldog and Diesel. Ugh. You had Mabel and Yokozuna.
Yeah.
You had fucking Fatu and Triple H. That was a stinker.
I remember that pay-per-view.
Don't watch it, guys.
I remember it. I just watched it the other day.
Now, you guys may call me a hypocrite for putting this in my number 1 because it was the same year. You know this. My favorite. In Your House, number 2, the second one, July 95. The one where it was a lumberjack match with Sid and Diesel. But that's not the reason. One of my all-time favorite matches and title changes was Jeff Jarrett and Shawn Michaels. I played the fuck out of that over and over as a VHS as a kid. You know I did. I love that match still. Shawn Michaels was so...
Jeff Jarrett was probably the most underrated talent in WWE at that time.
Yeah. And this is where, like, you saw the roadie split. I thought that finish was executed so good.
Was this the same night as he sang?
And this had the greatest performance in the history of the industry. With My Baby Tonight, live, Michael. Here it is. You guys are looking at it right now. There he is. There's Big Al on the guitar. My God. I love that performance.
We be rocking.
We be rocking. And then, from your interviews for your people in Nashville, reviewing the Jeff Jarrett performance, interviewing a little kid. Well, what'd you think? It's pretty good. Yeah. Plus the Michael. And see, you guys can't see this on camera, but I'll do it real quick. This gave birth to the lady in the crowd. Do the up yours thing.
Up your ass, Jeff Jarrett.
You also had a match. You had Men on a Mission versus Razor and the Kid, I believe. And this maybe showed some friction for the first time with that. This is pure bias.
It wasn't Men on a Mission. It was I think it was a Smoking Guns.
Smoking Guns.
It was for the tag belts.
No, that's at that October pay-per-view.
Oh.
About, but it's hard to keep up. It's a lot of 95 in one show.
Yeah.
So, come at me. I know match quality wise and shit, but it's a biased pick just because one of the things
match stole your heart.
Sure.
All right.
Remember Michael's taking that backdrop over the corner turnbuckle at the time, and you're like, "Holy fuck!"
Yep.
Also, shout out to Mind Games '96.
He's wearing the blue tights.
I think he was.
Yep.
To Mankind and Shawn Michaels, that In Your House was fucking amazing. Mind Games.
Yeah, that was Mind Games.
You had you had the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer sitting in the crowd for the first time that time, invading, quote unquote, with Bradshaw speaking of. Yeah, that was a good one. Michael, your number 1 In Your House of all time.
Number 1 for me, it's going to be pretty obvious for you. You know, I'm a little biased to some Bret Hart, and possibly the biggest Bret Hart pop ever came at this In Your House. In Your House Canadian Stampede. Yes. This was my favorite In Your House of all time just because of the crowd.
It's my finger gallops.
And the match card, once again, wasn't the greatest match card. But I think just the crowd reaction during especially the main event, for such a small crowd, I think there was maybe 10,000 people in there. This was going on exactly at the same time as the annual Calgary Stampede.
And is this, correct me if I'm wrong, the same arena that Stampede would have stuff in on big shows at times?
Yes. This crowd was
Stampede show.
maybe 10,000 people were in here.
It was Stampede Wrestling
But
show.
it sounded like there was fucking 50,000 in there when the Hart Foundation came out.
A lot of guys in the business I've seen on shoots have said that this was one of the loudest moments in their whole career.
Yeah,
That
for
heard
such
this
a
crowd.
small arena, this
That's
was
probably what led to it being.
one of the biggest pops I've ever heard in my life.
They just didn't stop either. The
No.
Hearts could have ran for prime minister in Canada.
Oh
that
yeah,
day.
this is one of my favorite times in wrestling when you had that little border rivalry.
We'll never see anything like that again. By the way,
No,
the closest we're gonna get is the Roman bullshit.
Between the U.S. and Canada back then, it was so funny. It was different. You never saw this before for somebody to come out and get booed like the most hated man in the world in one city, and then the next night come out across the border and get cheered like he's the biggest fucking hero you've ever heard.
Without this storyline, without this match that had Austin in it as your main American hero,
Yeah.
quote unquote, would Austin have springboarded into just superstardom as fast without this Bret Hart angle to play off of?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I think this was perfect timing for Austin.
He was what I think. The funniest part was you had LOD and Stone Cold on there, which nobody wanted to boo either one of them at the time. And I don't think either one of them really got booed. So Austin still got a little tiny pop, I think. But it was nothing like when the Hart found it. Was obviously the loudest pop the Bulldog, Owen Hart, or Jim the Anvil, or Pillman ever got in their fucking life.
Yeah. Especially Anvil. I know that SummerSlam 90 pop when the Hart Foundation beat Demolition. That was a hell of a pop.
That was a good pop, but I don't think it
Nothing like
compares to this.
No.
I think this just nostalgia value for me mixed with the crowd reaction has to be my favorite In Your House.
I can't argue. I think every pick was solid. I would go out of your way. If you've never seen In Your House, check out any one of these shows. Not the shitty one we talked about.
You're gonna have some shit matches on them, guys. I'm sorry, it's In Your House. It's that time period too. Stupid gimmicks and hokey pokey. Not to disrespect Justin's hokey pokey, but hokey pokey crap that you're gonna get during this time period. Don't let it skew you away from the greatness that is in some of these things. Hey, you dirty fucking pigs. Mike here from the Slam Pigs Podcast, reminding you once again to check us out on Twitter, whether it be the Slam Pigs Podcast, whether it be me at Mike the Slam Pig, or whether it be our sister show, The Reset Button. Check us out. Also, you can find us on Facebook at the Slam Pigs Podcast or The Reset Button. And as always, make sure you check us out as a whole on Hibiki, TMD. Until we see you next time, oink oink.
You mean I don't have to do anything else?